I've always been a dog person. I don't mean I have a fluffy tail and an obsessive need to eat, although one of these things is true. No, I'm saying I really like dogs. Nothing against felines at all. I've just had some wonderful dog experiences. One of my most recent dog experiences was quite labradorable. It involved a high-speed Autobahn journey, a high-stakes dog rescue, and the song Let Me Be. Welcome back to episode 4 of Serenade Podcast, where I tell stories, play music, and give shout-outs to imaginary sponsors. 2020 is quite a year. Thank goodness this podcast is here. I'll take you on a magic ride where songs and words go side by side. It's the 411 on 2020. The 411 on 2020. The 411 on 2020. It's free of charge, so you'll get your money's worth. And then hopefully a little bit more. That's right. This is the part of the podcast where I ask you to please subscribe and consider leaving a review if you have not. It really, really makes a difference. So they tell me. Who are they? I don't know. But when they tell me things, I listen. Okay, back to the story. It's halfway through my spring 2017 German tour, and we are getting ready to hit the road again. A usual show day on this tour consists of waking up around 10 a.m., dragging the suitcase down the steps of whatever hotel has been home for the last 12 hours, loading our gear and selves into our trusty rental car, and driving for anywhere from 3 to 7 hours to the next city. Soundcheck is typically around 4 p.m., then sightseeing, nap, dinner, choose your own adventure for the few remaining pre-show hours. Eat, play, sleep, repeat, in whatever order possible. The car is packed. We are all moderately rested, and I pull up my trusty Master Tour app to check the schedule I'd input about a month before. Okay, let's see. Lüneburg to Offenbach. The gig is in 2 hours. What? A look of abject horror paints my face as I quickly do the math and realize that without a time machine or a magic wand, it is not possible to travel nearly 500 kilometers in such a short time. Oh, there is no way we are going to make this early midday show. I pass this charming information on to Snuffy and Will Walden, my compatriots on the tour, and we decide to do what we can. After calling a somewhat disappointed promoter and cursing myself for being a poor ambassador of American musicians abroad, I sit down and buckle up. Our promoter says he will move us to the headlining slot since that's the only time slot we are even remotely close to making. I'm sure the original headliner really loved getting that news that day. Quick sideline here. We are all super professional touring musicians and we take our work very seriously, but sometimes things just happen. Okay, the story must go on. But first, a word from our esteemed imaginary sponsor of the day. Mr. Shoe does whatever you want to do. Perfect friend, just for you. Just use your imagination. Yeah. Hi, I'm Jane, and I was tired of talking to myself. It was getting old. But since there was this pesky quarantine, I couldn't get together with my friends. Mr. Shoe really changed my life. Together, Mr. Shoe and I explored the attic, had scintillating conversation about Russian literature, and even got up to some hijinks. Oh, Mr. Shoe, thanks for being a pal with soul. Mr. Shoe, Mr. Shoe does whatever you want to do. Perfect friend, just for you. Just use your imagination. Yeah. Mr. Shoe available in multiple colors and sizes, cannot be listed as a beneficiary on a trust. I'm not sure whether I find that heartwarming or deeply disturbing. Okay. Back to the story. If music doesn't work out, Will should consider a career in Formula One racing. Don't worry. He drove safely, and he is a killer musician, so I doubt a career shift is likely. But anyway, for the sake of the tale, Speed Racer Will is on the move. Our little car becomes a rocket, defying the laws of space, time, and international driving. Powered by one petrol stop and some questionable dehydrated onion snacks we found, the trip goes by in no time, and we make it to our new headline spot. Fast forward through load-in, many Entschuldigungs and awkward smiles later, we are on the stage, and there are people, and we are all one happy family. Yes, dreams come true. The first few songs go really well. The audience is there to listen, and they're really respectful and welcoming. You may be saying to yourself, isn't this podcast supposed to be a story about the song Let Me Be from the album 2020? Well, yes it is. The genesis of Let Me Be is pretty straightforward. I was inspired after hearing Nina Simone's Be My Husband. Those vocals, the arrangement. I sat down and Let Me Be came out in a few hours. When I was looking through my old laptop and preparing for this podcast, I found the original demo of Let Me Be from 2016. Here, check it out. You don't know my story. You don't know my name. You ain't seen my smiling face. You ain't seen my pain. The road I walk is mine alone, the only one for me. Unless you want to come along, you should let me be. Let me be everything that I am. Let me be. Da-da-da-da. Let me be. Da-dee-dee-dee-dee. Oh, let me be. I just love seeing the way a song comes into its own. I found pages and pages of lyrics that I was considering at that time, and they didn't get solidified until a little bit later. A month or so after recording that demo, I took it to the studio where Snuffy immediately connected with the song and added some Delta blues style guitar. It came together so naturally and so quickly. But what does all that have to do with an outdoor German music festival? All right, back to Germany. Next on the set list is Let Me Be. Quite often, when we perform this live, we stretch, and Snuffy has a spotlight and crafts a haunting sonic landscape. A minute or so into the intro, there's some kind of yelling, moaning. It's pretty difficult to describe, and I think, wow, they must really be feeling this one, but I can't see where it's coming from. This would be a good time to add that we were performing on a stage set up at the bottom of a hill in front of a deep river. A lot of people in the audience start pointing and yelling at something behind and to the right of us. Now, I know the show must go on, but when a crowd of people is freaking out and pointing towards some indistinct yelling, you stop playing. With a quick, sorry guys, and a turn toward the river, it becomes clear what has happened. A spatially challenged Jack Russell Terrier has fallen off the dock and into the super deep river. Apparently, he's not the next Michael Phelps because he is paddling for his life and not making much headway. As you would imagine, the whole show grinds to a screeching halt, and we have to let me be for a moment. Suddenly, a brave man comes out of nowhere, rips his shirt off, and plunges into the icy depths. In a moment, he is bobbing up and down with a very freaked out Jack Russell on his shoulders. He makes it to the dock. Some folks help him and his new buddy back on land, and everyone breaks out in applause. Suffice it to say, as hard as we try to put on our best show, an aquatic Fido rescue is a really tough act to follow. I tap the mic, go, wow, that was something, or make a joke about every dog has their day and that wasn't his, and we start playing again. After the show is over and the drowning pup is but a memory, we pack up and go straight to dinner. Some buddies live in town and they have invited us over to their home for a meal. I can't describe how nice it feels to have some warm food and some fellowship after several weeks on the road. Hours and many courses later, full of food and smiles, we drive to the hotel reserved for us, only to find it locked for the evening. Sadly, no random guy magically appears, rips his shirt off, and saves us. No, Google is our magic shirtless man, and after some failed attempts and fruitless knocking, we find a hotel that is open. I get into my room, jump into my bed right away, and with visions of drowning dogs and blurry landscapes dancing in my head, I fall into a sleep even deeper than that treacherous river. I guess you could say that day, strange adventures just wouldn't let me be. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Please watch out for deep rivers and look out for the dogs around you if you can. I'd appreciate you checking out my next podcast next week, every Tuesday. Thanks, and check out my album 2020 too if you want. Take care. You don't know